it's good to be back. It's good to be back. It's good to be in a positive headspace. I'm back. My dad is doing better. They've approved the shot for the anemia, which is caused from the red blood cells not working right. They're not producing right. We're still waiting on Mr. Rockstar's approval for the medicine he needs, but we're waiting. So hopefully we'll get a phone call this week. But my dad's better. My dad took me for a ride on the four-wheeler. I showed the picture that my daughter created that is from a picture I took quite a few years ago of Mr. Victor's first ride on the four-wheeler. My dad hadn't realized I didn't know how to drive it, so he's going to teach me. But I'm in a much better headspace. I'm feeling much more positive. Things are better. With my dad, I don't think that it's going to be cured. I think that the new chemo that they're going to try, it's one that they come out with recently in the last year, because regular traditional chemo will not work on my dad because of the way that it affects your organs. It will not, because my dad's cancer is in his kidneys and his bladder and his prostates, all in the pelvic area. But he's better. He's in a more positive mindset. My dad's a fighter. My dad doesn't have any quit in him. It was very tired though by the end of the day, and I told Mr. Rockstar from now on, we're gonna go. We're not gonna stay as long. My dad can't handle. He thinks he's supposed to entertain all of us, supposed to be out with all of us, and he won't go and lay down when he needs to rest. So we're not gonna have our visits be as long. However, I will be going as much as I can. But one of the things I wanted to talk about today was, other than the apology, because last week was kind of hit or miss, and I know that, but I did need a break from both YouTube and Patreon. I needed a little bit of a break. So I shared some stuff that was behind the scenes kind of stuff, which is part of what Patreon is about. You get a lot of videos, and I add a lot of extra videos sometimes. So I didn't feel too bad about it, but I do apologize for not giving you a heads up, really. But it's been very crazy. Happens every time. But the good news is that is the notice from Amazon letting me know that my Noodler's Lexington Gray ink is on its way. Should be here tomorrow. And I think, yeah. So the pen's going to take a little bit longer. The fountain pen, it probably won't be here until like the second week of August. Lovely birthday presents I got. My mom kept apologizing for not being able to give me a birthday present. But I told her not to even make me a cake, and she made me one anyway. That woman. Spending time with them and seeing that my dad was doing better and getting the good news about the medicine being approved and just having time with them was enough of a present for me. I did get quite a few really good presents though. So I was very blessed that my friends and family took the time to spend time with me for my birthday, one. And that two, like, for example, my daughter handmade this. This is a Prismacolor colored pencil drawing, which is to me much harder because blending. And like I said in the YouTube video, my friend Michael is going to make me a frame. I need to get him the measurements this evening. My daughter really did such a great job. My mom was like, I want that. I'm like, you can't have it. It's my birthday present. Had it not been a birthday present, I would have just given it to her. But my daughter took about 8 hours to do that. According to her boyfriend, it took her about 8 hours. So yeah, not giving up a birthday present. But my mom told my daughter she had to make her one just like that, just like it. So we're gonna have, yeah, my daughter will probably make it for her. My daughter's a sweetheart. So this next month is the 1-year anniversary for Destination Me, and then in November it's the 1-year anniversary for Patreon. And I've been thinking a lot about Patreon after I took this little bit of a break. My perspective kind of changed a little since I've been a patron myself for 2 different creators. I've also realized some things, because when I first started Patreon, I was very new to Patreon. I didn't know anything about Patreon. I wasn't a patron. I couldn't afford to be a patron. I had seen some people that were on YouTube go to Patreon, and then I noticed their YouTube channels kind of slow down the content. I don't and didn't want to be a YouTube creator that does very little on YouTube once I get on Patreon. I never want to do that. It's my personal preference. YouTube is how you get out there so that people can see what you're doing and what you do and what you can do, and they want more content, so then they join on Patreon. That's, to me, how it works. I have lost one or two patrons since the very beginning. One was one of the patrons that I've had since the very beginning, and it is sad that but I've also realized that what you are inspired by, myself included, or motivated by, changes because things ebb and flow. It's not personal usually. Sometimes it may be, but for me, it's about what I can afford and what the content is and what inspires and motivates me. Even if their content's very different than mine. I am not a very big mixed media person. I do some mixed media, but I don't do very much acrylic stuff at all. I'm just really not into acrylics. I like doing them for projects, but I don't really like putting them in my journal at all. What inspires me is the creativity. What inspires me is the enthusiasm. What inspires me is a lot of different things, you know. So it could be completely different content than mine, and it doesn't, that to me isn't what is as important. It's other things, you know. I am a patron of Courtney Diaz from Little Raven Inc. and she creates all kinds of things. She's very versatile in her journaling stuff, but she does create a lot of mixed media. It's a lot of collage. It's definitely more animated, and I love her Army of Odd and her creatures and stuff, but I don't really do that. Every now and again, I will do something very different than my normal, which is good because I step out of my comfort zone to do that kind of stuff. I am also a patron of Romany, and that her channel is, her YouTube and her Patreon channel is very different. But she and Courtney are two of the primary people who inspired and motivated me in the very beginning. When I very first crossed the threshold from mostly text journaling and adding some pictures and some everyday ephemera to adding art into my pages. It was Courtney's Hobonichi, daily Hobonichi pages, and Romany's pages. She would do sample things for the One Frog Sing course, and those inspired and motivated me, and they still do. I still watch some of those videos, the older videos. I still watch those. I have rewatched a lot of those videos over and over again. So, you know, it really, Courtney's work and Romney's work and Miss Vicky B's have truly been inspirational to me. There's a lot of other people out there who have been an inspiration and a motivation. Shannon Green, Dingley Delification, My Life Mitts, Palest Blue. There are a lot of other people that have inspired and motivated me, and a lot of them are very different. And I like the versatility and the variety, and because my stuff ebbs and flows. It depends on what mood I'm in, whether I'm creating collage or whether I'm doing more art and words and I add pictures, and that kind of thing. Like mine, I think I have a style, but I don't think it's. I watched Romany in a video talk about this very thing. She said most people don't even realize they've developed their own style. Other people could tell you what your style is before you realize it. And I think I'm getting very close. I think I'm honing into it, but I think I'm not quite there yet. I have days when my pages turn out the exact way that I want them to, with the overall feel of the page, including the text and the art and the ephemera, and I'm like, yes, yes, I have done it, yes. But not all the time. And sometimes I just kind of want to create a page because I need to get things out. So that's a lot of things that I do, a lot watercolor background, and then do a lot of text writing on those days. So it really just depends. But I'm getting closer and closer to what I feel like is my style. I think I'm honing in on it. I think I'm getting very close. But I don't think I'm ever going to be one of those people who's the same exact thing, because for me it's also about a mood. Yeah, it's definitely about the mood. One of the other things that I wanted to talk about today is how you grow and you change, and how your journal pages show that. When I very first started adding art and words, when I got so inspired by Courtney and by Romney and by Miss Vicky B and stuff with the and then I went to Fobonichi. I went and joined the Fobonichi journaling group, and I started doing the Fobonichi sort of pages, memory keeping in a variety of different ways. Um, I have grown since then, but when I very first started, I used a cheaper notebook. I used cheaper watercolors. I used cheaper pens. I still am using the Sharpie pen, and I still use my carbon desk pen, the fountain pen with the platinum carbon desk pen with the platinum carbon ink cartridges. I still use that to draw with. It's still my very favorite tool to draw with. And I like the Sharpie pens. I'm always going to love the Sharpie pens, no matter what other things I try. And I would like to try the Copic multi-liners. I've tried the Stettler multi-liners and different things. I always end up returning back to the Sharpies. Like, I really wish the Sharpie would come in different size, like little tips, you know, because that would be the bomb for me. So some things I've stuck with and some things I've grown and changed, and I little by little have added more expensive products. I've treated myself and invested in myself into a little bit more expensive things. Go from the less expensive to the medium range, from the medium range to the higher end. I'm still not at a place where I'm spending $100 on a brush. I don't know when that will be or if that will happen, but I have started collecting brushes. I like the silver black velvet brushes. They are they're good, very good brushes. To me, they're very, very good brushes. I think they're part synthetic and they're squirrel. I have a few of the Princeton, like the Neptune and different things that have come through the Art Snacks boxes, and a few different synthetic brushes that are really good quality synthetic brushes. But I realized when I was doing these pages, when I followed Allie Brown with her plopping the watercolor down in the background, and I filmed that, so you'll see that my really inexpensive Grace Arts practice brushes are so frayed. Um, they need to be cleaned. I'm going to clean them, but I also realized that it's time for me to start investing in a little bit better brushes for some of these other sizes, like the 12 and the 10 and the 8, because I don't have the bigger sizes in the black velvet brushes or in the Princeton, like Neptune and things like that. So yeah, it's about time. I need to find a really good DIY hack for cleaning brushes. That's on my to-do list while this is saving and uploading. I'll be looking for a DIY hack for cleaning your water brushes. I found one. I'm going to try to find a couple of other ones so I can try them out, see which one I like best. Because I don't have any watercolor brush cleaners. So, cleaner. I don't have any watercolor brush cleaner. I need to get some, but I can't get anything right now. So, yeah, but I'm going to start upgrading. I've been doing that along and along. I have a handful of really good brushes, and I have very many, and they're kind of in the smaller category. So, this week will be the 12 will be coming in. I found one. It's a synthetic brush, but it's a 12 for $6. But we don't have a Hobby Lobby where I live, or I could have found it for $5. But this is yeah, so I've got to do something with those. But I've been investing in myself, going from the less expensive to the higher end products, like with Daniel Smith watercolor and the Schminke watercolor. Investing in better journals like the Miguel Ruiz journal versus a Crossfield or an Enigma. I love the Enigma and the Breeze and the Crossfield and the Hobonichi. I love, love, love Tomoe River paper. So, and I've been slowly but surely collecting fountain pens. I still don't have any high dollar fountain pens. I think the most I paid for a fountain pen was this one. The TWSBI Mini is the most expensive fountain pen I actually own. And I would like to get a few more of these. But that's what I've been doing I've got to do this evening or tomorrow sometime, go through my Amazon wish list and get rid of a bunch of stuff that's on there, because there's a bunch of stuff that I put on there, added it to my wish list so I could go through and look at the reviews and compare things. But it's time for me to change it up, because I realized that I deserve to invest in myself, and I'm going to be doing that in bits and pieces. Like along, investing in better brushes, along, investing in better watercolors, along, creating a little bit of a supply of extra journals, because I don't have any extra journals at this point. I would like to have an extra Enigma and an extra Breeze or two, especially in the white paper, but I don't, and I can't get them right now, but they're going to go on my list. I'm going to have a wish list and a need list. The need list are things like the microphone to go on the camera with the wind thing, so that I can go out and film wherever and I don't have to worry about that. Another thing that's on the need list, um, are things like that, like an extra battery for the camera. And then things that are on my want list are like Dr. Martin's set of the the watercolor bottles. And along with that are this is the ink I meant. The watercolor by Dr. Martin's, and then the jars of it. And then I want the set of the Liquitex Muted Colors ink. Some different fountain pen inks. Those are on my want list, my wish list. They're not on the need list. Different things like that, like what I actually need versus what I actually want. I've been doing some thinking. My perspective has changed about some of those things. I've been thinking, because of the 1-year anniversary of Patreon, that I want to do a giveaway for Patreon. I think I'm going to do a bigger giveaway and a smaller giveaway for people who have remained a patron for my 1-year anniversary is in November, so I will choose the person in November. On the 20th is my actual anniversary, I think. It's when I first put that video up on YouTube for Patreon. So I think I'll choose that then, the winner. But so if somebody's been a patron, I'm going to have 2 tiers. For people who have been a patron for 6 months or longer, they'll be in the thing for the bigger giveaway. For people who have been a patron for a month or 2 or longer, for the 30 days or longer, they have a chance to win the smaller giveaway. Or maybe all patrons, I don't know. I haven't decided about the smaller one, but for the bigger one, anybody who's been a patron for 6 months or longer will go in the bigger giveaway. Because that's my 1-year anniversary, and unfortunately I've lost 1 or 2 patrons who were there from the beginning. But like I said, people, we change. Our needs ebb and flow. We change, and what we like and what inspires and motivates us and stuff changes. I do, however, ask that if you find that my content is lacking, or that it's a little bit repetitive, or that there's something that you would really like to see, or if you have any ideas or suggestions or anything, I am always up for constructive criticism, for ideas, for thoughts, for suggestions, all of that. Please feel free to put that in your comments, please, by all means, or to message me privately on Patreon, or on Facebook. If you are not already part of the Patreon Facebook group for my Patreon page, please let me know, and I will need to add you to Facebook, and then I can add you to the group, and then you'll be in there, and then you can keep me as a friend on Facebook or not. That's up to you. But for me to add you to the group, because it's a secret group, I have to actually be friends with you on Facebook. I'm excited about things. I feel really good about how things are right now. I'm in a much better mood. I'm in a much better frame of mind. I wasn't feeling very good yesterday. I was running a slight fever because I got caught in the rain Sunday more than one time and got really cold, and then I got really hot, and then I got cold again, so it wasn't very good. I just had a slight summer cold yesterday. So I fell asleep at like 3 in the afternoon, and then woke up like when Mr. Rockstar had dinner ready. He did the dishes and had dinner ready. I was like, yes, I love that man. So yeah, this is a much better frame of mind that I'm in now. I'm feeling really good about things. One Book July has changed my perspective as well, so I'm feeling really good about some of the things that I've learned from One Book July. I'm going to be filming that. Sorry, y'all. I'm going to be filming that very soon because that will be the only other video that YouTube gets this week. They got the coffee chat Monday, and then on Friday they will get One Book, or Sunday, whichever I haven't decided, probably Friday or Saturday, they will get my update for One Book July because it's the end of the month. And then come, I guess, Monday or Tuesday, they'll get Camp NaNoWriMo's update. But you're going to also get that. You'll get that probably ahead of time before YouTube gets it, or you'll get the uncut version that YouTube doesn't get. It'll be different, I promise. That's the thing I've been thinking about, where I'm going with this, because of the update for One Book July. I am going to go back to the Hobonichi, but I'm going to go back to it differently. My perspective for some of this has changed because of One Book July and because of everything that's going on over the last few weeks, the things that have been happening. It has changed my perspective somewhat. So the Hobonichi, I think, from now on, the end of this year and next year is going to be for YouTube. I was so inspired and motivated originally with some various people's Hobonichi pages there where they journaled about their day. You know, you illustrate or document your day in the Hobonichi on the one page. And I think I'm going to do that for YouTube. I had started out with the Hobonichi being more private and the bigger journal, the Omni Journal, being more public. But as things have changed, I'm not in an Omni Journal anymore, and as this has changed, I have been putting a lot more personal stuff in this. So this will go on Patreon, and the Hobonichi is going to go on YouTube. There will be occasions when, if you guys say, hey, I think this is a really great video, or this was a really good coffee chat, I've noticed other creators do this, why don't you go ahead and show it on YouTube? Well, some of it may have to be edited to go on YouTube because, like I said, Patreon is much more personal and intimate. I share details with y'all about my life that I don't share on YouTube. Like the video of Mr. Rockstar and his friend Titus playing the guitar. That, unless Mr. Rockstar had approved it and I had actually edited it, it would not have gone up on YouTube without editing and without Mr. Rockstar's approval. So that is for Patreon only. That's a behind the scenes kind of thing. It was at my birthday party later in the evening when a lot of the bulk of people had left and this was just a few people had remained. So I think that's what I'm going to do. Y'all will get the footage. Y'all will get the preview of the Hobonichi pages, the video for YouTube, before it goes up on YouTube. That's a project. That's like the preview kind of thing. When I'm thinking about changing my tiers. I have talked about it before. I want less tiers. What will happen is, for those of you who are paying $20 or more, you'll actually only have to pay $15. That what you get won't change, but you can actually pay more, pay less. You can keep the $20 if you want to still pay $20. But the tier will only be $15. For those of you who are paying $12, and for those of you who are paying $7.01, because I don't want to split things up anymore. I talked about this before. So if you're paying $12, you're actually going to get what you're getting for $10. And if you're paying $7, you'll have to pay a couple of dollars more, but you'll get all of it. Instead of splitting between journaling and planning, it will be all of it. It will be all of it. And it will be $10. And then for those of you, I haven't decided about the 3 and the 5, but I'm thinking if you can move from 3 to 5, you'll get projects. I may keep 3, 5, 10, and 15. I haven't decided about the 3 and the 5, but for those of you who are paying 3 and you only want the coffee chat and a post here or there and access to the Patreon Facebook group, that's fine. If you don't want to move up to $5, I need to kind of get a heads up because this is going to be changing in September. I have thought about it and thought about it and thought about it because I want less tiers. I don't want the journaling and the planning split up. I plan from a journaler's point of view. I'm a journaler at heart, and I will always be. So I think that, you know, it should all be the same. Um, I can keep the $3 tier, and it will only be the coffee chat. And but I don't. I think the $5 tier is the coffee chat, the PDFs, projects, and probably they will be getting videos that, you know, I may end up doing the YouTube preview videos for the $5 tier on up. So come September, because you're getting it ahead of time, or I may, yeah, because I really want to get down. I don't want so many different tiers, but yeah, I'm trying to figure out what would be best. I've checked on Patreon, and you'd go, when I start changing tiers, you'd go into this thing where you don't have a tier at all, where you're just a Patreon. And then you have to go and pick, I think you have to re-pick which tier you want, and maybe you can, or, and then I guess you change, if you want to, like if you're a $20 in the $20 tier right now, and you, when I change it and you go to the $15 tier, if you still wanted to pledge $20, you'd have to change your amount to $20, if that makes sense. Um, that's up to you. I think that that's a fair thing. The only thing I'm not very sure about right now, like I said, is the $3 and the $5. But I said as of August, July and August, the $3 tier, you will be getting the coffee chat um, and a post and the access to the Facebook group, and you will be getting one of, you know, at least one of the PDFs. I don't know. I'm going to be changing up the PDFs because I've been watching a lot of videos and reading a lot of blog posts lately about PDFs and creator content and stuff like that. And I get a lot of my images from Google, from Creative Commons, from clip art, from Pinterest. And although I'm drawing it and I'm not copying it, I mean, I'm not like, you know, I actually draw what I'm looking at. Most of the time I draw it from the screen. Um, I'm using that stuff as a reference. And when it's something specific that's copyrighted, like Miss Fancy Pants and stuff like that, or Presence of Presents and different things like that, I write down what it is. But for like these shark images and things like that, a lot of those come from clip art, and I can put a little asterisk and put that it came from clip art, or put that it came from Pinterest, but it's not quote unquote being designated, specifically designated to who actually created it. Because sometimes on Pinterest you can't find who actually created it. So I've got to figure out what I'm going to do with PDFs. I'm probably going to be doing some more journal pages and then creating my own kind of icon things. So you'll get two different kind of PDFs maybe. Or I can, yeah, I may just do my journal pages like when I create something, because that's different. So yeah, I'm still thinking about all of that, because I am definitely one of those artists that needs a reference to draw. I don't draw very much out of memory, and I don't draw very much without a reference at all. I don't create very much from my imagination. Um, I like references. Maybe later I can do stuff out of my imagination, but I don't do very often. So that's about it. It's been 30 minutes now. There were one or two other things I was going to talk about, but I may save those and talk about them in the voiceovers. I really want to say thank you so very much for your patience and your support, for all of the birthday wishes. Y'all are wonderful, and I appreciate each and every single one of you. Thank you for hanging in there with me, for your support and your kind words. It was greatly appreciated. It was definitely needed, and I'm really glad to be able to create again. And I will have videos for y'all out of the yin yang this week. There's going to be like a part 1, a part 2, probably a part 3. There's going to be a bullet journal with me, a plan with me, or two, or two. So I will see y'all again soon. Thanks, y'all. Bye.